diggity, diggity dog. Breaking, diggity, diggity dog. Breaking.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 330. And I intended to drop this episode last week leading into WrestleMania, but instead we're doing it standing in the smoking rubble that is the fallout of WrestleMania. Now, at the end of the day, there's never really a bad time to talk pro wrestling games. I love them. I'd like to cover all of them by the end of Remember the Game. I'm not going to sit here and say that'll ever happen, but another one off the list this week as we are going back to the Ruthless Aggression era and talking WWE Day of Reckoning for the Nintendo GameCube. And if you're wondering if that music off the top did not sound like it was from WWE Day of Reckoning, this entire game is full of like either WWE entrance themes or licensed music, which is great. But it makes it difficult for me to figure out what I could put in it with the music without... I mean, I don't know if lawyers care about us, but our legal department is Molly's old stuffed unicorn that we gave away. So we're kind of flying without a legal department right now, and I was like, you know what? If they're here for the talking. If you want music, just go look it up. You can find the soundtrack. It's a good soundtrack. Anyways, we're talking WWE Day of Reckoning for the GameCube. And back in those days, Nicholas had pictures of bumblebees on him, as was his style at the time. But back in the days of the GameCube, every console had its own exclusive wrestling series. Like Xbox had the, awful Raw games. They're terrible. PlayStation had the powerhouse SmackDown games. I think, because this is 2004 that we're talking, I think this was the year they switched to SmackDown versus Raw. From like SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth, Here Comes the Pain, stuff like that. I think. I may be wrong, but I think they switched. Anyways, PlayStation had the SmackDown games, and GameCube originally had WrestleMania X8 and 19, which were okay, and then those became WWE Day of Reckoning. So all three systems had their own wrestling games. And like I said, Raw on Xbox was shit. SmackDown on PlayStation was fire. Day of Reckoning is kind of the hidden gem of the three. Most people obviously owned and played PS2, pardon me. But if you had a Nintendo GameCube, Day of Reckoning was a really, really solid way to get your wrestling fix. The controls are very reminiscent of the Nintendo 64 Mount Rushmore, the Akai controls like No Mercy, Revenge, etc. So like a modernized version of that. It looks pretty good. It's got a decent career mode with an original story and everything. It might seem a little bit bare bones compared to wrestling games today. And I will say personally, between SmackDown and Day of Reckoning, I do prefer the SmackDown games, but Day of Reckoning is a really solid wrestling game, and I think it offers the best multiplayer experience of any wrestling game from that generation as well. So my guest this week is my fellow Booger Eater wrestling nerd, Mike the Ref, and we felt pretty similar about Day of Reckoning. A couple of nitpicks. The fucking AI will drive us crazy at times. There's always room for more meat on the bone. But in the end, we agreed this is a great game from a great era in professional wrestling. And if you're a wrestling game fan and a retro game collector, I think WWE Day of Reckoning is one you need to have in your collection. And it's pretty cheap out there as well. So if we can convince you to pick it up by the end of this episode, you should be able to find one pretty affordably. So we're both fighting the plague off this week, so apologies for the occasional cough. I did my best to clean this episode up and make it tolerable, and we'll get to all that in just a minute, because speaking of trying to make something tolerable, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun! And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Listen, our intros are kind of long. They're not that long. They're kind of long. They're fun. We talk video games and stuff. They're good times. And you don't have to rely on a stupid AI tag team partner to get past them. And not only that, you don't even have to get past them if you're a Patreon. I'm super stoked to announce all 329 previous episodes, and then today makes 330 episodes of Remember the Game, are now uploaded on Patreon and available ad-free with timestamps for everyone at any level on our Patreon. So if you've been thinking about signing up over there, now is the time. They don't do the thing where they charge you the first of the month anymore. Now they just charge you every month depending on whatever day you sign up. And for $3, not only do you get access to the expansion pass and game patch archives and new episodes, but you get Remember the Game ad-free then, now, forever, if you see what I did there. So consider checking it out. Patreon.com/remember the game. If you don't want to do that, skip to about the 30-minute mark and you'll be into Day of Reckoning talk. Let me do my plugs. Keep the bills on. All of our merchandise was designed by my man Joe from 4545 Creative. You can find it all at rememberthegamepodcast.com if you're interested. Pretty rock solid way to support the show. And of course, that Remember the Game lifeblood is in fact our Patreon. We publish up to 4 additional shows every week. All of our shows over there have no ads, and you can start listening to them for as little as $3 a month. You can also write into the show, vote on the games we cover, join our 1,000+ member Discord, and you get instant access to the entire archive bonus podcast library too. And most importantly, you get a shout out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm certainly going to do to at least one of these. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons, Rooster, Nintendo's legal team, see why I'm not using the music, Grizzly Bear Fight Squad, Kelly, Count Chonkula, Spooky Dookie, Dr. Grimm, Lil Livy, Philly East Side, Rian Keith, did I say that right? Rian Keith, Flamingo Legs, Weaver T, Christ's Come Ortiz. Read it as it's written. Justin Newcheck, Philippe Chavez, and Profound. Thank you all so much for the support, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries, patreon.com/remember the game. And if you sign up for a year, don't forget you get your 12th month for free. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Subdued, who said, "Hey Adam, in your opinion, what games have the best character designs for Mario? Personally, I love the way he looks in Mario 3, the GBA port of Mario Brothers, and the black and white option in Smash Brothers Brawl. Thanks and congratulations on 330. Thank you, Subdued. I didn't know there was a black and white option in Brawl. I haven't played a lot of Brawl. I haven't brawled a lot. My favorite Mario design is probably Super Mario World, because that was the first time I saw him from like 8-bit to 16, and I was like, wow, he's got buttons on his coveralls. I like the Mario RPG design as well. I know some people think that game is ugly, but I like that design. And then I like his modern design, like the way he looks in Odyssey and stuff. I really like the design Nintendo's going with some of their characters. Same as Donkey Kong. I love the modern Donkey Kong. Haters gonna hate. I think he looks good with his big shadow box full of eyeballs. I would say that is it. Count Chonkula said, I just want to start off and tell you that I started listening to Remember the Game a few months ago while driving around for my job, and I've been really loving it. Expansion Pass and Game Patch. Thanks for all the obvious hard work you put into these shows, and I continue to look forward to new content. Thank you, Count Chonkula. I was wondering if you've ever heard of the game. I picked up Cursed to Golf for the Steam Deck a while ago, and I think it's one you'd enjoy. I also hope you're feeling better and ditching that nasty cough. Getting there. I can still feel it in my chest, but fucking getting close. Stupid pneumonia, man. Thank you, Chonkula. I have played Cursed to Golf. Actually, if you, I can't remember what episode it's on, but if you look for the mini indie reviews on Expansion Pass, those are episodes where I do little reviews of 3 indie games. I think I did one about Cursed to Golf. If you guys haven't played it, Cursed to Golf's really good, really solid indie game. It's like a side-scrolling classic golf game. So you basically just adjust the strength of your shot, and that's everything. But you're like stuck in this golf course from hell, and you have to go through 18 holes, and all the holes are like randomly generated, and you can pick up items and like power-up cards to use along the way. All you really have to do is get your ball into all 18 holes without running out of shots. Like I haven't played it in 6 months or so I'm a little bit rusty on what it is, but it's a really solid, cool golf game. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, if you like golf games, Cursed to Golf is good shit. Good pick, Chonkula. Good pick. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious said, you mentioned you're a big Blink-182 fan. Have you read the autobiography of Mark Hoppus already? If not, I highly recommend it. I read it in just 2 days. I did. That's one of the things I did while I was sick, was I read it. Yes. If you are a Blink-182 fan, Mark Hoppus has a new autobiography, Fahrenheit 182. Very, very good. If you're into Blink, because he talks about the formation of Blink and the breakups and his cancer and everything else. If you're not a Blink fan, I can't imagine you're going to get much out of that book. But yes, if you are a Blink fan, check out Mark Hoppus' book. It's fire. Also, I highly recommend Travis Barker's Can I Say? Another very, very good book. Now we just need Tom to write a book, not just about aliens. Mac Daddy ×4 said, Adam, how do you feel about modern games that limit the number of save files you have? With all the terabytes of storage we have nowadays, I feel it's silly to restrain us. 20 slots, it's whatever. 3 slots, what are you doing? 1 slot? Get the hell out of here. I agree. That burns my ass. Even going back as far as like anything when we started with a memory card, It should have been as many saves as you can fit on your device if you want them. And nowadays, yeah, it's horseshit. Like, listen, we all know the reason Nintendo only gives you one save in Pokemon is so you have to buy more copies of Pokemon. I haven't played Animal Crossing New Horizons, but I think that's the same way. I agree. It's horseshit. Like, it's my fucking memory. If I want to have 3,000 saves, let me have 3,000 saves. Shout out to games like, I don't know, fucking Oblivion. That's topical. Like, I actually haven't played Oblivion. I assume it's like Skyrim and you can save as much as you fucking want. If I have enough space on my device, let me save 3,000 times if I want to. No less than 10. Anything less than 10 saves. And if it's a battery-powered, like, cartridge, like a Super Nintendo game or something, I can live with that. But once we're into paying for our own memory, you let us save as much as we fucking want. I agree, MacDad. It's fucking horseshit. Works for me. Said, hi, Adam. I know you haven't seen a lot of movies, but have you at least watched Wreck-It Ralph? And if so, who's your favorite retro Easter egg of the movie? What was your favorite Easter? Okay. Easy for me to say. I have seen Wreck-It Ralph, but it has been I saw it in theaters when it came out, and I haven't seen it since. So I have seen it. I actually would like to do a Remember the Game review of Wreck-It Ralph at some point. I love that movie. As far as the Easter eggs, I don't remember a ton outside of the scene where all the villains are having their like support group and they're all talking, which apparently was like a shit show to put together because all the different game rights holders wanted their characters to be bigger and badder and everything. But seeing Bowser in there was obviously the highlight for me because Bowser's my boy. Good movie. I remember that being a great movie. I remember not liking the second one as much. But I remember loving Wreck-It Ralph. I got to watch that again. Jarek Setlukal said, I just got shoulder surgery. I just got shoulder surgery, and I was thankful to be able to play WWE 2K25 My GM mode while my right arm was out of commission. Same surgery coming up on my left. Any recommendations of games I could play one-handed? Currently considering Balatro as an option, but I'm not a big card game guy. I would still recommend trying Balatro. I'm not a big card game guy when it comes to like Hearthstone and games where I have to build a deck and constantly tweak them. But when it's like a roguelike and it starts over every time, like a Balatro or obviously the official game of Remember the Game, Slay the Spire, those ones I can't get enough of. So I recommend those. If you're not looking for a card game, Into the Breach, if you like tactical games, is a must play. And I can't imagine you couldn't play that with one hand. That game's fucking awesome. It's a little like mobile game that I think's been ported to a lot of consoles. I want to shout out Game Developer Tycoon. I've sunk so many hours into Game Dev Tycoon on my phone. It is really addictive. And then maybe look at a Fire Emblem. I'm not sure how well they would play with one arm. So if you've got a Switch, I would recommend playing them on Nintendo Switch Online and seeing if you can play them with one hand before you buy one of the more expensive ones. But outside of Slay the Spire and Balatro, Into the Breach is my pick. And good luck with your surgery, buddy. You'll be fine. Well, I don't know that. Maybe you won't. But yeah, you'll be fine. You'll probably be fine. It's probably good. You're probably fine. It's like 10% chance something could go wrong. 10%'s nothing. John C500 said, Nintendo has messaged you and said they're huge fans of Remember the Game. They've said you need to come up with your own color scheme for the special blank edition of the Switch 2. What are you choosing? I actually thought long and hard about this, and I actually have a really good idea. If we ever had a Remember the Game themed Switch 2, the dock would be like a bun, and then the Switch 2 would be like a grilled hot dog, and then the Joy-Cons could be ketchup and mustard color. And then you put the hot dog in the bun. I mean, come. Nintendo, if you're listening, let's make some fucking money. Get at your boy. And finally, before we move on, it is letter time. It's letter time. Rose636 said, good morning, Mr. Blank from Down Under. There are games that have lost out on perfect scores due to the Mario World tax, but at the same time, some games are ranked at a 12, but some are ranked at a 12 million. Were there any games that used a high scoring scale that narrowly missed out on perfect scores because you could deduct 1 from 12 million that you would have given a perfect score had it been ranked at a 12 instead, or vice versa? Something you did give a perfect score when ranking at a 12, but would have assessed the Mario tax had it been out of 12 million. I appreciate the question, Rose. I have to say, I get a lot of questions from people about the scoring scales, grades I've given games, former Play 1, Remake 1, Erase ones, and the picks I made on them, and stuff like that. And I'm just to make one definitive statement, I don't know. I know it's a lame answer, but I never keep track of like, I've probably repeated a Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1 on the show. I never keep track of them. I don't keep track of the scores. I've given to games. I know that shout out to Normie over in our Discord has done like if I'm wrong on who did it, I apologize. I'm 90% sure it was normal Normie. Did like a spreadsheet breaking down like every score I've ever given a game and stuff. But without referencing that, I honestly like dude, we literally recorded the Day of Reckoning review 18 hours ago, and I don't remember what score we used. So I can't give you a definitive answer. I couldn't tell you all the games I've actually given the rare perfect score to, but I will say the point I read of this whole thing is A, I don't know what scores I've given games, but also B, I don't know if this is just like the math nerd in me. I have at times thought that like if we're scoring a game out of like 1,500 and I give it like a 1,495 or some shit, I'm like, that is basically like a 9.9999 out of 10. So is that a perfect score? Like, I have thought that as well. And then I fall down this fucking rabbit hole of being like, man, so then what else have I given a perfect score? And then I'm like, what other lies are going on? Like, why is the water outside of my window forming the way it is? This is all a simulation, and I'm losing my mind. And it turns into Charlie Day with that board with the pin and all the papers. And I have thought that exact same thing. But I never, maybe someday, long after Remember the Game is Dead, when I launch the inevitable, I milk what's left out of this fucking shriveled cow carcass of a podcast, and I launch Remember the Game. Then maybe I'll go through and look at some of my review scores and be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's, I'm not quite that desperate yet. Not quite. We'll get there. We'll give it time. We'll get there. Thank you for all the submissions, everybody, as always. We'll answer a few more on the Rambling Idiot this week with my WrestleMania review. I'll be doing some leftovers and sneaking a few more comments in, but we need to keep the ball rolling down the hill, so let's switch things up and get to our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play one, remake one, erase one. Oh, for the sake of radio, I cut it out, but I just had a coughing... Oh, man, a coughing bonanza there. Still there. Still fucking... God, now don't get sick. Just don't get sick. That's my tip. Wash your hands. Don't eat things you find on the ground. That's the problem. Huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week, I give our Patreons 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. As always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll talk about that in a minute. And this week, since we're talking wrestling, I went with 3 more wrestling games from the PS1 era. We've got WWF Attitude, ECW Hardcore Revolution, and WCW Mayhem. And this was actually really close. All 6 potential combinations got some love, but 27% of you said you'd play WWF Attitude, remake ECW Hardcore Revolution, and erase WCW Mayhem. That is the wrong answer. Let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. All of you saying play WWF Attitude have forgotten WWF Attitude. I'm fucking telling you. Because that game, oh God. Let's see here. Zen Paladin said play WWF Attitude. The roster was great, and it doesn't play bad at all. It doesn't play all that bad. I'm choking on my own rage here. I agree that the roster is great, but it does play bad. I'm sorry, it does. Zen said remake ECW because it's high time they get a proper game with their legendary roster. Erase WCW Mayhem because Goldberg sucks. That is sound logic. The only thing me and Bret Hart agree on. Goldberg does suck. Did you see Bret Hart roll his eyes at Triple H? Fucking Bret Hart. That's why I fucking hate that guy. What a bitch. Deli16 said, I'm going to play ECW. It's probably the most playable game right now. Remake Attitude because I rented this game over and over hoping it would get better, but it never did, so now it can do that. And then erase WCW as I never enjoyed their PlayStation games. You know what? That's solid logic, Deli. Outside of WCW World Tour and WCW NWO Revenge, WCW is pretty rough. I agree. James Hanzelik said, I'm going to play Attitude, and not because I want to, but because it's neither worth remaking nor the most erasable of the given choices. It also holds a weird special place in my heart because I loved it at the time when it was new, mainly because there weren't any good WWE games and we didn't know better. It's true. I'm remaking WCW Mayhem because the world needs a good WCW game outside of the ones using the Akai engine, such as Revenge at World Tour. A modern WCW game would be great. Let's just make sure we give the development responsibilities to a company other than EA. I'm erasing ECW Hardcore Revolution because that game is essentially a bad ROM hack of attitude, shit gameplay, shit modes, and an even shittier roster. Sound logic. That's well said. Well said, James. I disagree with your order, but well said. Slightly chilly Stephen Austin said, Adam, come on. Play Attitude. It was at least the best of the terrible Acclaim wrestling games. I guess we could remake ECW Hardcore Revolution and get it out of the trash Acclaim wrestling engine and then erase WCW Mayhem. Frankly, it came out while WCW was starting to be a dumpster fire anyway, and I'd rather forget that era of WCW ever happened. No. Damn it, no. Stilly, chilly Stephen Austin. Never forget. All you wrestling fans out there, never forget what WCW became. Because those that forget history are destined to repeat it. Or whatever the saying is. Never forget WCW. And Blaine the Hoagie Man said, I'll play ECW even though it's basically Attitude with ECW characters. I'll remake Attitude, because even though the game's controls are way outdated, I like the fact that you can play 4-player career mode and the creator wrestler was always fun. So keep those and just majorly update it. I'll erase WCW even if it's better than WCW Thunder, but not by much. I'm a little bit disheartened by the lack of WCW love. I'm going with 10% of you this week, as did Chronolingua, who I believe is the only person that wrote in with the same order I had. Chronolingua said, I'm going to judge these by cover. Play ECW because that looks like a proper over-the-top, gratuitously violent pro wrestling game. Remake WCW Mayhem because that's Goldberg and he seems like the poster boy for generic brand wrestler. We have a wrestling game at home kind of thing. Put The Undertaker or something there instead. And then Undertaker wasn't in WCW. You can't. You do this every time. Can't do that. Erase Attitude, because that cover is about as low effort as it gets without making it a plain white background with wrestling game in Comic Sans font typed on it. It is a shitty cover. The all red with just Austin in the middle. I agree. It is a shitty cover. Same order, way different reasons. I'm going to play ECW Hardcore Revolution because I never have. I don't know why. I just never got around to it. And I know it probably sucks, but I need to see for myself. So I'm going to play ECW Hardcore Revolution. I'm going to remake WCW Mayhem into the successor/legacy version of WCW NWO Revenge that we all want and need. And then I'm going to erase WWF Attitude because I played it just like all of you and it fucking sucks. That game fucking sucks. That game is fucking shit. There's so many good WWF games. Listen, I loved it back then too because we didn't have anything else. But as soon as WrestleMania 2000 and SmackDown came out, it was like, get the fuck out of here. Game is fucking terrible. They come down the stairs. The only good thing about WWF Attitude was before a match, if you pick Triple H, one of his little one-liners he threw at his opponent is, tell your mom I left my watch on her nightstand. Or maybe it was your girlfriend. But either way, it was a good line. Awful game, but good line. Thank you, everybody that wrote in to play along as always. What have I been playing over the last couple of weeks? Well, I've been away sick quite a bit because I've been sick and I haven't been able to fucking do anything else. So I've been playing WWE Day of Reckoning. You're about to hear about that. I've been playing Kirby 64, which I'm about to finish. We're going to probably cover that on Remember the Game next week, FYI. I've been playing Hot Shots Golf. Very fun. A lot tougher than I remember, but really fun. We're going to be covering that on RTG in the next couple of weeks. I've started playing Okami. I'm not writing it off. I'm not saying it sucks. I'm not saying I don't like it. I will say in the hour and change I've put into it, I'm not wowed. But I've been busy playing a lot of other things, so I'll probably just restart it and give it a real shot soon. It's coming. The review is coming. That won our Pre-March Madness Patreon poll tournament extravaganza, 64 games, and it won. So I'm going to review it. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't been in the mood to play it yet. We'll see. I'll give it more time. And then for modern games, I've mostly been playing Blueprints, and it is everything everyone said it was. Really solid puzzle game. I will say I've had the occasional run where I've been a little bit frustrated by the RNG, but for the most part, I'm really enjoying it. And assuming I'm smart enough to figure out how to beat it, I'll probably do a review/spoiler cast of it on Expansion Pass. I think that'd be a tough one to review without spoilers. So I'll probably get into that one on Expansion Pass in the next couple of weeks. And then I'm still trying to finish Avowed, still trying to go back to WWE, still trying to play MLB The Show. Fuck. Now I want to play South of Midnight or whatever it's called. There's the Oblivion remake I'm not really all that interested in. Expedition 33 is right around the corner. Jesus Christ, man. There's so many fucking games. Like Doom is only a month away, which I can't wait for. And then Mario Kart, for fuck's sakes. Too many games. All right. Let's pause here. We'll let a sponsor in. They will do their thing. And then we'll be right back with WWE Day of Reckoning talk. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, work sucks, I know.
And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. At least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention. But when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. All right, let's talk some wrestling. As always, I like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest tonight hog the microphone. And we had some comments this week, so let's read them, as I am contractually obligated to do. Anthony Messina said, I loved this game and its sequel. These games are always overlooked. The story mode was a lot of fun, and if any game felt like a predecessor to No Mercy, it's this game. I think it's successor. I'm not trying to be that guy because I say a lot of words wrong, but isn't predecessor like before? Point stands, I agree. I think I say that on this episode. These really do feel like the continuation of No Mercy and stuff. I agree, 100%. And I feel they're overlooked. So I agree with just about everything you said, Anthony. Well said. Insert clever pun. Said, I mostly played this game to get my wrestling game fix until I got a PS2 to play the SmackDowns, but still have good memories with this one. Remember the soundtrack being banging? I still associate Polyamorous by Breaking Benjamin with that game 20-ish years later. Soundtrack is good. I can't use the music, I don't think. But I do think the soundtrack is really good. Shout out to this fucking Swollen Members. Canadian hip-hop group. They've got a track on this game. I used to love the Swollen Members. Fuck, that's a pull. Maya Buttreeks said, I had this game back in the day. It was a lot of fun, and it played really well on the old Cube. There was plenty of meat when it came to creating a character. It made it pretty easy to sink tons of hours into. I actually think I was trying not to cough there. I actually think the creator wrestler is really good in this game. I agree. And I don't think we talked about that. It might have been something we missed in our review, but the creator wrestler is surprisingly good in this game. Other than you have to buy everything, but it gives it replay value. Adam, it's your turn. Said, I remember playing this on the Wii thanks to backwards compatibility. Was pretty impressed with it. Always wanted to try Day of Reckoning 2. We will do that one on the show eventually. I wanted to shout out to you. I always forget the Wii is backwards compatible. Always. I just never really used it on my Wii. I don't know why. That's a pretty fucking Ambitious backwards compatibility by today's standards. And Rivas27 said, Day of Reckoning was my introduction to professional wrestling. I love this game, the soundtrack, the story mode. It blew my mind as a 9-year-old. So much nostalgia. You really got to play the second one now. And I will. Also, Rivas, double secret probation for making me feel so fucking old. You're like, this game blew my mind when I was 9. When I was 9, it was fucking 1992, and I was playing like WWF WrestleMania on my fucking NES. To have grown up with this, you kids don't even know how good you have it. I'm sick right now. When you were 9, it was the Ruthless Aggression era. When I was 9, fucking, I guess Ric Flair was winning the Royal Rumble. But things were going to get worse before they got better as a wrestling fan in the early 1990s. Fuck me. Bret Hart's fucking reign of terror. Anyway, let's talk Day of Reckoning. That's why you're here. My guest Mike the Ref and I fired it up. We played through it. We enjoyed it. We're going to talk about it now. I'm going to cue up some wrestling game music. Probably not Day of Reckoning because I don't want to get in trouble. And when it stops, Mike and I are going back to August 30th of 2004 to talk WWE Day of Reckoning for the GameCube. Enjoy the episode, everybody. Let's go. All right, this episode has been about 2 weeks coming because we've had to cancel it over and over and over. But finally, joining me via the blank phone this week, joining me in the squared circle, as the kids say, to talk a WWE Day of Reckoning for the ye old GameCube is my buddy Mike the Ref. I almost coughed right there. Mike, we're both battling AIDS here, so we're both going to be coughing all over the mic. But how are you, my friend? How's life?
I'm doing good. It's just terrible that our bodies are working about as well as your AI tag team partner in this game.
Oh, and we'll get there. Fuck me. I tweeted that while I was playing this for the show. I was like, there is no, listen, we've all dealt with like annoying companion missions and video games and stupid AI. Everyone's been there, but I don't know if video game AI is at its any worse than when it's your tag team partner in a fucking wrestling video game. Especially old wrestling video games. Fuck.
Oh,
me.
it was just horrendous to say the least.
Oh my God. And not every, but so many old wrestling games with these built-in story modes. And listen, for all you GameCube or you Day of Reckoning lovers, I like this game. You're gonna get a good review.
Likewise, this is a great game. It's just there's certain things that just drive you absolutely up the freaking wall.
The fucking AI, and so many classic wrestling games do this, where in their career mode or story mode or whatever you want to call it, they put you into tag team matches when you're not playing. Like, it's one thing if you're playing WWF No Mercy and you select the tag team titles, you expect to play some tag team matches. But every other fucking, like this game, it's just tag match after tag match after tag match. And it's just with the stupidest, and it's so infuriating that like the computer's AI can jump in and make a save every time I'll accidentally put a fucking hold on an arm bar, and the other computer guy's like, better get in there and break that up, and my computer guy is reading signs or some shit. Fuck me. Fuck. If I want to do a singles, I can't get worked up. It might kill me right now. But if I want to play a singles career, let me have some fucking singles matches. Bastards.
Well, let me be perfectly honest with you. I didn't mind it as much as you. The one stipulation that I didn't like, it's early on in the game in the storyline. You get a tag team match. Okay, fine. You know what? I'll do a tag team match. I'll beat the living crap out of both guys. I'll knock the other guy off the ropes. I'll get the pinfall.
Classic.
No,
yeah.
But no, they have one specific match where they turn to you and say, your partner needs to get the pinfall.
Yes.
That one, I will admit, this game early on was rather easy for me to get through. But that one I had to start over because my partner was a freaking idiot.
Same here. Dude, is that where it was Rhino, I think. At least for me, it was Rhino.
It depends on which brand you were on as well, or which brand you were heading to. But for me, it was Charlie Haas.
And it was just like, for the love of God, bro, like and the worst part is when you try to come in the ring and take care of because you'll tag out to your computer partner because they have to make the pin. And then my thought process is like, well, I'll take out whoever's waiting on the ring apron, and then you just get the job done in the ring. But then they're not getting the job done in the ring. And then after a little while, the computer partner will throw me in the ring. Then I get stuck in this like 15-second animation of the referee throwing me out of the ring. And I'm so angry and I'm yelling at it like, okay, I'll fucking leave. I promise. Just let me go. But they won't let me go. Meanwhile, Rhino's finger picking his asshole or something and not doing a fucking thing. And I agree. That match, I was like, this game went from like hella easy to that fucking match. And I was ready to snap on that. Oh my fuck.
And then you go back to easy again.
Yes. And then the next time I had a lot of trouble was I had to do a tag match where I was, because again, I went to Raw, so I joined Evolution, and me and Randy were the tag champs, and we had to defend them in a ladder match against the Bashams. And again, the game is fun, and with two people, it'd be a blast. But with a fucking computer partner who's like, literally, as soon as the Bashams aren't attacking him, he's trying to set a ladder up and climb it. And I'm just like, would you fucking stop for 2 fucking seconds and just do your Randy Orton? Throw a drop kick or something. Fucking something. Oh, God.
And for me, I had SmackDown, so my partner ended up being Charlie Haas, of all people. And then we had to take on the Bashams as well, but then after that, we ended up getting RVD and Chavo as a team we had to fight in the ladder match with. And it just...
RVD and Chavo?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because... Basically, there is a point in this game, and spoilers, it's a 20-year-old game. I'm sorry, we're going to go into it. Eventually, once you get picked to go onto the main roster, you have to decide whether you want to go to Raw or whether you want to go to SmackDown. Now, I found out after, I always have this way of picking the wrong one, the non-real storyline one. But I found out after that if you go to Raw and run through Evolution with Triple H, basically take the role of Batista, that is actually canon for if you go on to get Day of Reckoning 2. It carries on. But if you go to SmackDown, it's you join the new Ministry of Darkness featuring Big Show, Booker T, Charlie Haas, The Undertaker.
And I have to say, like, listen, I played this one back in the day, but this was very much a refresher, like replaying it. And it's hard. It can be tough to, like, I love wrestling games. I know you play a lot of wrestling games. It can be difficult to separate them. Like, they all kind of start to bleed together. Once I started playing this one, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And it's a huge step up from WrestleMania X8 and 19 on the GameCube.
Oh, absolutely.
But one of my biggest gripes with this game is especially in the pre-online era, unless you were playing it with your friends, it was all about the career mode. I love a good career mode. Shout out to SmackDown 2 on the PS1, by the way. Like, I love a good career mode. This one's cool, and I love the storyline that you create a wrestler and you start out, wrestling house shows to Sunday Night Heat, eventually ending up on Raw or SmackDown. Where I was a little bit disappointed is I was really hoping for, like, because I looked up the 2 storylines before I picked a brand, because I was like, I'm not going to have time to play both before we record. I want to play the one that hits harder. And then I saw that it's basically like right click save as, and it's either Evolution or the new Ministry of Darkness. And I do have to say, little bit, frankly, it's going to probably cost it a point when I score it. Little bit disappointed they couldn't come up with 2 original storylines. Like, it wouldn't have been that they get the payoff of winning the Rumble and facing the leader as the champion at WrestleMania. Like, you get that, but you can't tell me you could have done a little bit more, especially when there's no voice acting or anything. It's just the screens. You could have given us 2 storylines.
Well, it literally is the run through of Batista. What happened a year later when it comes to 21, right? He joined Evolution, ended up winning the Rumble, ended up facing Triple H and getting the title, right?
Yeah.
It's not
fine,
exact points, but
it's fine. But I will say, like, where are you on this? When I play my wrestling games, I prefer a storyline where, like SmackDown 2, I like one where it's just like never ending. Win the title you want to win, go after the title you want to win, random feuds. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but even playing My Rise right now on WWE 2K25, like, it's fine. But I prefer to just play universe mode with my character as opposed to playing like a very linear story like this.
I personally don't mind the linear stories like this as long as there's some sort of sense to it, some proper sense to it. if it seems like it's forced how you're setting up into specific situations, specific matches, that's when I get a little annoyed with this game.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I
here,
agree with that.
the fact that you're wanting to be a singles wrestler, and you just said it here, you want to be a singles wrestler, but you got to go through all these tag matches because you're under the tutelage of whether it be Triple H or The Undertaker, and he thinks it's best for business. Wrestling fans who are getting this the week of know exactly how much that statement hurts to people. Best for business right now.
Yeah,
but
and
I digress.
Well, and the catch-22 is that, like, if all you do are singles matches, then it's boring. Like, you got to do something to change it up. You can't just have the like, days are long gone from the WCW NW Revenge like ladder where you just wrestle 8 people and then win a championship. Like, I get that you don't want me just wrestling singles matches every single week. I understand that, but like, it's the nonstop tags. I'm like, throw me in a triple threat or something, like, like something that's not just I don't know, like. And even like winning, like, it was cool. I got to win the tag titles with Randy Orton. And I was like, fuck, I like Randy Orton. Look at us. We're the tag champions. This is rad. But I also was like, I don't want to do fucking tag team wrestling. Like, it's a whole different game. And frankly, it's not as fun as matches where you're by yourself.
I found personally that the story as it went through, I was actually pretty captivated by it. It's a very basic story. And wrestling fans, as long as you get a storyline that makes sense, most wrestling fans are pretty happy with it.
Yep.
So I understand there's a lot of tag matches involved and a lot of that's just the WWE line. It hasn't changed in over 20 years now.
No, it hasn't. You're right. And
like,
other than that, like, it was fine. Like, it was cool to interact with Evolution. Like, Bischoff's there. On SmackDown, it's Angle, right? He's the GM.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Angle's there. Like, it's cool. You get to wrestle all the big stars. You get to do the Royal Rumble. Like, it's all there. I'm not, like, by far not far from the worst wrestling game I've ever played or anything. It's just
absolutely.
I fucking hate the fucking tag team. I fucking hate the tag team matches so much. Well, let's talk about stuff that isn't just the career mode. We'll
folks, there's a lot of good stuff for this game, not just.
There really is. Yeah. If I'm being honest, dude, like, I don't have a lot of other, like, it's from THQ. It's clearly got it's still got a lot of the No Mercy engine in it with the way it controls, the way it feels, the way the little momentum.
I love how much I love the controls in this game.
Yeah. It's like, it's less is more, like it's B is your attack, A is your grapple, light grapple is a move, hold A to get a strong grapple and then do a move. It's all the basic stuff you've done in No Mercy and everything. It's just like and I'm going to put my cards on the table. I cannot take off my No Mercy fanboy glasses. It's impossible. And I'm playing it and I'm like, this feels like a better looking, but slightly sloppier feeling No Mercy, which I felt about some of the SmackDown games as well.
I personally feel that the feeling of this game as you're going through it, as you're playing it, I really do love the simplisticness of it. Like, if you have the original GameCube controller, it's the little button for the light attack, the big button for the big attack. If you want to do your special, you hit both of them, and all you do to pop it off is have the person in the right position hit both of them again.
Yeah, it's literally like, for those of you that have played like No Mercy or any of the big Wrestling 64 games, once you set off your special, you have a finite amount of time to, in those games, you do a strong grapple and then flip the analog. In this one, you don't even have to do a strong grapple. Like, if your move is from, like, my finisher is always in this case was the Vertebreaker, because I love the Vertebreaker. I call it the Verteblanker, but I love the Vertebreaker. And you got to be face to face. You smash AB. Drop him with a Vertebreaker. Feels great. Super quick to do. And I will say, dude, like, I've been flipping between this and WWE 2K25, playing it with my nephew while he's here. First of all, I highly recommend to those of you that are always asking me, Adam, how do you balance so many games? Don't play 2 wrestling games at the same time.
No.
Because the muscle memory is gone. Like, it's gone. And then as soon as I get it for one, then I'm fucked with the other one. But my God, and like, it's not fair to compare this game to a game that comes out 21 years later. But this almost feels like fucking NES controls basic compared to playing a modern WWE game.
And
It's wild.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing at all. Like for me, I like saying simple. You don't have to have overly complex button motions. Like I come from fighting games. I enjoy a good fighting game. You got to remember a few complex motions on those. But when it comes to a game like this, couple buttons here, got to remember the tag button eventually. You'll figure that out. Try one button to get it out of the ring. And it's just very simple, very simple while being very robust at the same time.
Yeah. You always feel like you have a move, like multiple options. Like you've always got something available to you. I play WWE 2K religiously, and I still forget some of the moves because there's so many fucking moves in those games. Like every button on the controller is another set of moves as long as you're in the right position. It's fucking wild. And in this one, it's mostly A and B. And I love that. Easy to pick up.
The one thing I liked about it, though, is for those that play Smash Brothers, it does have a lot of that feel, too. Because not only do you have the B and the A, but you have forward B, you have up B, you have left B, or backward B. It comes up with like 3 different moves you can set up. And the more that you play this game, the more you can pop in the shop zone and vary your arsenal to change your moves around, to have different moves as you're going in there.
Yeah.
So,
agreed on that note. And yeah, it really does. It feels good to play. It's fun to play. It feels good. This is the evolution of the Nintendo 64 engine. And I know we're going all over the map with wrestling games today, but we both love wrestling games. This plays like what I wanted AEW Fight Forever to play like.
that's the exact thought I had.
Same basic concept, and AEW was trying to capture that No Mercy feeling, but the fact that the matches were over in like 8 seconds, and it felt like it wasn't like it needed to go back into the oven. Playing this, I was like, dude, take this exact gameplay engine and drop it into AEW Fight Forever, and I'd love that game.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Plus the story mode in this, even though it's this complicated, I'll take this over what they had for AEW Fight Forever.
Oh God, that story mode. Hey, you just want a match in 8 seconds. You want to go for sushi with Kenny Omega? No. Well, tough shit. Fuck me.
Trust me, and I am an AEW fan, but that is one of the biggest blight AEW in its 6-year existence at this time.
It's so frustrating. Like I can sit here right now and say that like again, it's very difficult for me to compare WWE Day of Reckoning to WWE 2K25, but I can sit here and compare this to AEW Fight Forever. This is a much better game than AEW Fight Forever.
Yeah,
but they have the same engine, like the same basic. They don't have the same engine, but the core ingredients are the same.
But the problem is that bar that you're setting up, a cockroach could get underneath it.
No shit, yeah. And this is the continuation of WrestleMania 18 and 19 from the GameCube, which was a continuation of the Nintendo 64 games. And you can see that evolution. Like this is, to be fair to AEW Fight Forever, like that was their first game. This is like number 10 in like a fucking line of these games.
I do want to hand it to THQ for the fact that they learned if you don't fix it, they just modified it a little bit here, added a few extra little touches, had a few interesting creative or hidden characters as you're going through that they pick up as you go.
And I have to say, like, if I'm knocking a point off for the tag matches and how much that infuriates me, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna knock a point off for the unlockables as well, because not the SmackDown Mall, pardon me, that's No Mercy. This has Shop Zone. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with playing the career mode and playing matches and earning money and then spending that money to unlock additional things. But all you unlock are like move sets and cosmetic items and stuff you can use to build wrestlers, which is fine. But the actual like roster of unlockables, I found that very, very underwhelming.
Yeah, I don't know how much you can actually put into the GameCube cartridge like that. Like,
I don't know, but
at the same time, like, Andre the Giant, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Was this coming out right after WrestleMania 2 or what?
Yeah. Like, I'm fine with Andre the Giant. I'm fine with Bret Hart. Like, I mean, I can live with Brutus and Greg, but when those are the other two, I'm like, oh. And then that's it? And it's like, yeah, that's that's all of them.
Having Bret Hart there is, very important because he is the greatest wrestler ever, right?
Yes, he is. Absolutely. And he made sure we all knew that as well. So
Yeah.
fucking guy. But like, yeah, I found that a little bit disheartening as well. Because frankly, even the roster, like it's difficult to sit here in 2025 and review a wrestling game from 2004 and be like, here are the holes in the roster. Because let's be honest, I don't remember everyone that was on the WWE roster in 2004.
I remembered everybody on there, and they had a pretty good coverage of everybody that was predominantly on the shows. Like
the number one problem, you know, my number one missing wrestler, which these are words that'll probably never leave my mouth again. Where was, why no Devon Dudley?
I believe this was right around the time where Devon wasn't around.
I know, but like they were split up, but I just like, you couldn't, I don't know, that like when I was going through the roster, I was like, yeah, Maven's missing, but does anyone really look? Shout out to Maven's YouTube channel, great YouTube channel. But
no, like Devon,
who cares?
Devon split up, he became the priest with
the
Reverend with Deacon Batista. He bucked off, so that's why I think he wasn't in here.
But like, I don't know. That could have been one of your fucking. We needed Brutus Beefcake instead of a Cool
weird.
Dudley Boys reunion. I don't know.
Licensing was weird in that time. Licensing's weird. Period. Anyway.
Well, it's expensive, and I think something to be remembered too is you got to pay. Like I've seen wrestlers talk about the checks they get for being in these games, and it's fucking crazy. And they were like, I saw an interview with Sabu once, and he was like, I got paid to be a legend in one game. And then he's like, I got like $35,000 or something. And then he was like, for future games, all they did was take everything I have and put it in the make a wrestler. And then they didn't have to pay me for it, which like, of course they do. Right. Like that's business.
If you go into those move sets, like in Shop Zone, you can see there's a few wrestlers in there that have showed up there. Like you have a certain set number of move sets there that you look at them and you're like, yeah, that's somebody I know. Yeah, that's somebody from Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Stone Cold, because this was when Stone Cold was on his screw you guys, I'm going home.
Screw you, I'm going home.
Actually, no, this would have been after WrestleMania 19, so he was done at this point. Because this is after WrestleMania 19. Yeah, so he was just done by then, but I don't know. Like the roster was fine. I always get a kick out of flipping through a classic wrestling game and being like, oh fuck, I remember insert wrestler here. Where I really thought the roster dropped the ball, number one, I thought the unlockables were weak. Andre and Brett were fine. The other two were weak. Number two, it's great that you have a couple of divas in this game, and I'm not even upset at the bra and panty matches being in this game because that was the style at the time. But
that's what you have to remember.
That was the era, right? That was the era. But you really, like, there's 4 women. Like, this was very much a like, hey, the game ships in next Tuesday. Can we get the women in?
We'll just throw some token women here. Hopefully they'll be enough to suffice in the roster.
Yeah.
Granted, the other women that they were using at this time, for the majority of them, weren't exactly being used in the proper sense to be used in a wrestling game.
No, but like, it's just like fucking No Mercy. You could play as like fucking Mae Young and Earl Hebner, and you know what I mean? I'm like, you couldn't have found, if you're trying to push the bra and panty match on the cover, which by the way, the only thing I'll say about the bra and panties match is once you play one once, you're like, I understand why you only put 4 competitors because this sucks. It's, you know, it was the novelty of it was cool for back then, I guess. Sure. But like the match itself, you just mash it's like trying to get them to submit. They're going to tap in like 3 attempts and it's over in 90 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, well, whatever then. Fuck this. But other than that though, yeah, I agree. I thought the roster was cool. It was a lot. It's always fun going back and like, and especially playing through the career mode. And then it was like, fuck off. I need to wrestle fucking Rhino and Val Venus again and Garrison Cade again. But then they're like, here's Matt Hardy. And I fucking popped huge for V1 Matt Hardy. I was like, fucking right. Let's go.
I popped even more for version 0.7.
Yeah, because he's coming back. If you don't know, you get to fight him on Sunday Night Heat. He's coming back from a knee injury, and he calls himself Matt Hardy version 0.7. That's pretty sick. I like that.
The one that popped me more than anything else, this was the very rare time, and Stone Cold was still around this. It's when Lance Storm had that dancing gimmick. Mm-hmm. When he had to be Mr. Positivity, he got to be Mr. Personality because Stone Cold went on stage and said he was too boring.
Fuck. I saw that because I feuded with him in this game. And watching Lance Storm, even it's 21 years, and I'm still upset watching them do this to Lance Storm. And I was like, just let the man fucking wrestle, for God's sakes. Imagine if they had made Chris Benoit fucking dance. Like, I know in hindsight, sure, he wishes that he fucking danced, but, like, I don't know. That was another guy that I got a kick out of seeing in this game. I know, very bad, but still very good in wrestling.
I have no bones in saying that he was my favorite wrestler growing up, but I can't separate the two. In terms of being a human being, let's not even get started on that. But
no.
In terms of a wrestler, I absolutely adored what he used to do. But you know what? Let's go into a little. Sorry, I know I'm ripping things here, but how about the fact that they brought the music in for all these wrestlers, and the music throughout this entire game was absolutely amazing. If you ask me,
yeah, it was. Okay, you know what? Here, I do want to get into that. And before y'all are like, let's sneak the ad in here now. And then when we get back, it's done. It's out of the way. Then we'll get into the music and stuff. And I am going to sneak in the plug. If you sign up for Patreon now, remember the game is up there ad free. Just saying. $3, just saying. We'll be right back after this. Okay, we were talking about the music. One of the things I'm nervous about with this fucking review is I have no idea what music I'm going to put in this episode because, to their credit, everything is like it's either entrance themes or it's licensed music. It's not the generic like fucking rock music that plays in like a wrestling game. It's actual music, and it's a pretty good fucking soundtrack.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of the stuff that went through this one, the music was absolutely like the theme songs were legit. They weren't chiptune at all. And then you also have the legit music going on during the match as well, rather than commentary.
Yeah. Now, the only criticism I have of that is because we all know commentary gets old when you're playing one of these games over and over, but hearing the same song over and over I eventually just kind of started muting it when I was playing it or like turning it down and watching like a YouTube video. But I do like the putting music in. Also, shout out Swollen Members have a fucking track on this game. Shout out to Swollen Members. Canadian hip hop. I love the Swollen Members.
The entire personally, I had to have the match music off because I was playing it on stream, so that was going to get DMCA'd fast, and they could say boo. But when it comes to commentary versus music in these games, I am personally, if people know, I used to be a color commentator for wrestling. I actually prefer the music.
I do too. I think
because the things you're actually mentioning in the commentary just keep starting to repeat themselves over and over again.
Yeah,
and it feel authentic, especially with a cartridge this small.
Yeah,
I would assume
it is the right call.
Yeah, it is definitely the right call there, and just
and they did great. Like it felt almost like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater level soundtrack.
That's a very good comparison there.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. It's like I say, the only problem with it is just, again, if you're playing it over and over and over again, like after a while, even the music that's playing during your matches over and over does get a little bit over, but it's no different than commentary. Then you just turn it down, and then if you want the music on, you fucking turn it up.
Yeah, but absolutely.
I like that as well. Even the entrances are pretty good. For this era, the entrances are pretty good.
And SmackDown has the fist, so it automatically gets an extra 2 points for me for fisting.
That's the best era of SmackDown.
Oh, absolutely.
Is the fist. Man, this really, like, I've said it before, not to go on a sidebar about professional wrestling, but like Mike and I are both clearly beyond old enough to remember the Attitude Era. And I love the Attitude Era. I'm sure you love the Attitude. Everybody loves the Attitude Era. But Ruthless Aggression, with the exception of maybe like the hype that was around professional wrestling in the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars, Ruthless Aggression to me is the best era of WWE.
I think
I love that era.
I think the Ruthless Aggression era was the best combination of athletics and story.
Yeah.
It's just some of the booking. A lot of people forget during the Attitude Era that the booking was, there were some great parts, but when they got bad, they got really bad really quick.
Yeah.
Here in the Ruthless Aggression era, it was a lot more level. And with when you had the SmackDown 6 over on like deal with the Guerreros, Benoit, and
Angle, Mysterio, and
Angle,
Edge.
Mysterio, Edge. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Having those 6 together, like, I'm sorry, that's like absolutely spectacular wrestling. And this is just coming off the heels of that. As Angle just moving into a general manager, and just having this game the way that it lines up, the kind of roster, the kind of stories they could have potential for here, and everything basically the way you get to play it out. It, to me, it's just fun. That's the thing. This time, it's just fun to have the wrestling games like this.
It's the same as playing the SmackDown games from this era, like SmackDown versus Raw and Here Comes the Pain and stuff like that. The Ruthless Aggression video games are just like, again, I have such a hard on for that era, because like Meg said, on SmackDown you got the SmackDown 6 plus like Dr. Thugonomics John Cena I fucking love Dr. Thugonomics John Cena. I actually, although I hate to say this, it was a few years after this was Triple H went from my favorite wrestler to my least favorite wrestler in this era, because Monday Night Raw turned into like Triple H promo and then whatever else we can fit in.
The rate of terror, as they call it.
Oh my God, buddy. It was fucking, that Hall of Fame speech from him this past weekend was very reminiscent of those Monday Night Raws, because he just keeps going. Holy fuck.
I want to give shout out. Sorry, a little sidebar out here. I want to give a shout out to anybody who actually stayed up for that entire hour of that Hall of Fame speech. We're recording this just after WrestleMania 41. So the Friday night they started the Hall of Fame at 10 p.m. local time, which is 1 a.m. Eastern. So if anybody stayed up to watch that whole thing, I want to give you a special shout out right here on the show.
Yeah, Booker T was in the crowd and he didn't make it.
Nope.
So he said he was praying. Yeah, I saw him say that he was praying. And it was like, you slept through a Triple H promo, sir.
He was praying for it to stop. That's what he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That said, though, going back to the Ruthless Aggression era, like that was one of my favorite things about playing this video game was like, I was in my early 20s when this game came out, and I was, I was a dumb 20-year-old instead of being a dumb teenager, but I was still dumb. But it's just, that's the same it's the same reason I have such an attachment to those Nintendo 64 wrestling games, and to a lesser extent SmackDown and Attitude and Warzone and all. Like, it's just, I love the way that era ties to those video games, and I love the way the Ruthless Aggression era translates into video games. And that was one of the things replaying this game was just like, I had such a, let's be like, if you're not playing multiplayer without online, the replay is limited. Once you've played through this story on Raw and SmackDown, if you want to, that's where I prefer the non-linear storyline modes. Like, I wish you could, there are some matches you can win and some you don't have to win, but it doesn't really tell you. And I prefer like the branch where it's like, okay, the Evolution wants me to join them, so I can either go babyface and feud with them, or I could go heel and join them. Like, I wish it had more of that kind of stuff.
To be honest, the one thing I would love to see added to this game would have been a ladder mode. Just straight up, just a ladder mode. Like, you climb up the ranks, not a ladder match, but a ladder mode where you basically just...
I was like, it has a ladder match. I got you. I understand. Yes.
No, like,
yes, agreed.
Basic, the old school WCW, NWO revenge kind of, you got to beat X number of people to get a title. I wouldn't mind them adding that just as a sort of King of Hill mode or something to that effect.
Even if it just had a little bit of storyline to it. Like a little bit, instead of just generic, like this week you beat Garrison Cade, next week you wrestle Lance Storm, next week you wrestle Rhino. Like if it just had a little bit of a storyline to it, I agree. I also would have liked to have seen the titles be usable. Like out. Well, I mean, maybe they were. I didn't play a lot of exhibition matches, but I don't remember seeing the option to pick titles. Maybe it was in there.
It was probably on. I didn't check, but I think Shop Zone might have had it in there to use. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I just, because I love being able, like, that's one of the things we'd always do on like WCW and NWO Revenge is draft rosters and then have our titles and feud with each other over them and stuff like that. And
It would have been cool if he could do that. But that's we're nitpicking now. And I'll ask you this, Mike. Like I haven't reviewed a wrestling game on the show in quite a while, like an old one. I love talking about these old wrestling games, but it really can be a challenge to separate that from the way wrestling games are today and be like, it doesn't have all the modes today does, but they didn't back then. Like this was a very good wrestling game back then.
Absolutely. And, it suffers from the same problem that, and you guys, for those that aren't familiar, I am the fighting game correspondent on this channel. So I am very familiar with a lot of fighting games, and these old fighting games, it's the same problem. It's the replayability value. Like when it comes to these games, you can only do a certain number of matches by yourself. Once you do the story, you could try to keep beating people, but after a while, it suffers from that. You need some other variant. You need some other person, to get involved to a point.
To its credit, though, like I've said it many times, I've always looked at the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube as multiplayer systems, and like this game clearly shines best with its multiplayer.
Oh, absolutely!
It's no different than like Mario Strikers, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, like all the other sports games that are in there. They're fun. They're a lot more fun to play with somebody.
I'll be honest. My experience when it comes to this series is Day of Reckoning 2, the sequel to this, and having 4 people around with a GameCube, just basically bludgeoning the holy heck out of each other for a while. If it didn't end up in bloodshed between the people that were actually there, it actually was really, really fun for hours on end because you could have. There was so many different variations of stuff you could do here. Like I think this is one of the first games that allowed Hell in a Cell for the GameCube.
Yeah.
For example, and stuff like that.
That's back when Hell in a Cell was still kind of new and cool. It's still fun. Hell in a Cell is still fun. But yeah, it was kind of new and cool back in video game form in this era. And something else people need to remember too is that like it's not like today where WWE 2K25 is on everything. Like you had the SmackDown series on PlayStation, you had the WrestleManias that became Day of Reckonings on GameCube, and then you had the god-awful Raw games on Xbox, which were just abominations. The only thing I remember about WWF Raw for the first one for the original Xbox was K-Quick.
Oh God, yeah.
And I'm such a big Truth fan, and I loved K-Quick, and I thought that was so awesome. But other than that, that game was shit. It was basically GameCube versus PlayStation, and I would be willing to bet most people out there the SmackDown series is they are the predominant. There's a reason they took over eventually. Like SmackDown was the series.
When you talk about that generation of wrestling games, these games don't get talked about enough. The whole WrestleMania Day of Reckoning series. It's always the talk of SmackDown 1 and then SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which justifiably so.
Fair, yeah, Here Comes the Pain is Here Comes the Pain, but
yeah. That's a whole different level, right?
Well, my thought was always this is my opinion. I always found the SmackDown games more fun by myself, and then the GameCube one more fun with other players. But the PS2 didn't have 4 controllers without a multi-tap either, whereas the Cube did. And so multiplayer had to be a bigger focus on the GameCube.
And I think that's how it's set up here when it comes to the series of games that just works perfectly. The storyline here is a little bit more than what it really should be, but you're there for the multiplayer replayability.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and they had to set themselves apart. Like if you're going to release 3 different games, like I have no problem with them releasing WWE 2K25 on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and then probably Switch too. Like that doesn't bother me because we all know going in it's the same game, so just buy it on whatever you want to play it on. But imagine if PlayStation still had, the yearly SmackDown games, and then Xbox had, say, yearly Raw games or something, and they were 2 different games, then you need to differentiate them. And that's where, like, again, I as a single player gamer primarily, because I have no friends, I prefer SmackDown on PlayStation. But if I want to just have some friends over to fuck around, like, I frankly think playing Day of Reckoning with my nephew Ben is here visiting right now, playing this with him on the GameCube would be just as fun as playing WWE 2K25 because it's designed to be a pickup. You'll probably get your ass kicked for 2 to 3 matches. Then you'll get the basics. The hardest thing is learning the reversal timing, which I actually found very generous in this game.
I originally didn't until I realized I could change the settings.
Oh, fair enough. I didn't change it, but I just found it forgiving. My only problem, and this was a product of the times, I much prefer all my reverses being on one button as opposed to L and R.
Well,
But
to me, it's like when you have strikes on one and grapples on the other for reversals. To me, I keep getting confused in my mind about which one I got to hit. So it does become, but I will say this, and I want to put a teaser and request in here. If you ever get me back on for Day of Reckoning 2,
100%. Yeah.
Please, somebody listening to this, remind me to tell you guys a story about why I lost a original GameCube controller because of Day of Reckoning 2, and I had to play this one with one of those third-party GameCube controllers.
The Mad Cats. The Mad Cats, those fucking pieces of shit.
It's not even a Mad Cats. That's how bad it is.
Oh man, I have like a knockoff here as my second GameCube controller that I don't even force on my worst enemies. This thing's a piece of shit, especially because the original GameCube controller is such a masterpiece in design.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it so much. Yeah, I didn't find reversing to be too tricky in this one. I know that other games had separate L and R reversal buttons. It just took me a while to get used to it, but it didn't seem like there was and maybe I'm wrong, I didn't find there was a penalty for hitting L and R. And so when they would go to attack me, I would just hit both and hope I got the right one. And maybe I was wrong, but I seem to get an awful lot of reversals out of it. So,
well, for me, I just stayed on the aggressiveness, so I usually didn't have that problem for the most part.
Yeah.
Just get to them before they get to you.
And then it also, like, call me an old man if you need to. I am an old man. I love I still call it the momentum meter, but the whatever you want to call it in this. I love that system. When you start out, you're both kind of flashing yellow and you're both middle of the pack. As you take over on offense, it builds up to bright red, flashing super crazy, and then you can activate your finisher. As you're getting your ass kicked, it goes down to dark blue and it beats even slower, and you risk getting knocked out. There's a lot more to that system than just I'm in the bright red, I'm about to get a finisher. I'm in the dark blue, I'm far away from a finisher. Like your momentum in a match can switch so quickly if you're down in the blue and hit a couple reversals. And there's a lot of genuine strategy among high-end players at keeping your momentum and your attitude or whatever you want to call it meter filled up and using little moves to like kind of tweak it up and stuff like that. I really, really like that system. I love seeing it visual like that. And I love the system they put in this game where once per match, you can hit A and B and like pull out the comeback and swap momentum with somebody. Fucking awesome. I really like that system.
That momentum shift move when it comes up, like it's an instant game changer for you as you're going in there. Like you're getting your ass kicked and all of a sudden you hit that with perfect timing and all of a sudden you're the one that's in control of the match. And it just,
it's awesome.
It is so much fun at that point, just because that means you're never really out of it.
No, exactly. Yeah. And it can be like, we've all played these games. Man, it can be frustrating when you're down in like the dark blue and you're getting your ass kicked and you can't reverse anything to save your life and nothing's going right. But then you hit 2 or 3 reversals. That could be all it takes. And things start to turn on a dime. And then before you know it, you're in. I to this day, it's my favorite energy system in a wrestling video game, whatever you want to call it, health system.
I like it because
I love
it's
the controls too.
I like it's very basic and you can reverse rather quickly. You don't have to focus on one part of the body.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything specific. You just go out there and beat the living crap out of these guys. And if you're getting the crap beat out of you, you don't have to worry about a certain body part having to adjust. It feels very party game-ish in that way.
Yeah,
but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Not at all. No, Ben and I were literally saying yesterday, we were playing WWE 2K before WrestleMania. And he owns it and I own it. We both play it at, like, I'm not gonna say a high level, but like we're equals. Like we can have a good beat 'em up match in it because we both know the game. And I said to him, like, man, it can be a very frustrating game for someone that doesn't know how to play to pick up. And I was like, I wish they would put like for lack of a better term, like a baby mode in to like help someone that doesn't know how to play. A simple mode, like they put the NHL 94 controls back in the NHL games if you want. Like I wish they would do something like that. And playing this one, I was like, I feel the controls for a game like Day of Reckoning are as complicated as they can be while still staying accessible to everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I don't think you could go any further. Like this was right up to the limit for me. You know?
Yeah, well, based on what you had for the GameCube, there isn't really much more you can do Because
No, I don't. Yeah, I
if you started trying to do fancy controller moves with the joystick, you know how much that's going to break.
yeah,
It's going to be about using the what is it, the original N64 circle pad would use a Mario Party.
Yeah, burning it in your hand.
Yeah. That's what you end up with a GameCube if you had started to do stuff like that. Hell, even fighting games today, they're coming up with what they are calling modern mode, where basically they're going into the same mode that they're using here on games like this, where it literally is one button. You could do a move. You move your stick one way, hit a button, you could do another move.
Yeah.
Like this method here that they have here is definitely one of those where if you're not completely familiar on how to play these games, you're not going to have a total advantage, but you're not going to be completely lost because it is that simple to pick up and go.
Yeah, once you've played it a little bit and you've kind of learned the basic controls, you're going to be just fine. Yeah. Like I said, the big thing is the reversal timing, and that just comes with practice. But the only other thing I had on my list that I really wanted to shout out in this game, and admittedly, I didn't realize what a difference it was until getting ready to do this episode. I looked up some images. It looks really good. Like compared to WrestleMania 19 on the GameCube, they really got their shit together with the graphics in this one.
This really did feel like a step up from the older games they had there. And it looked like they were trying to make a statement out of this. And remember, this is on the GameCube of all things. Like this GameCube is not meant to have graphics as good as this is.
No, it's not exactly a powerhouse of a system, but like I'm looking at images of WrestleMania 19 right now, and they really do look like WWF Attitude graphics, but like next gen. Like everyone, like they're not made of shapes, but everyone looks like they're almost like cut out of paper and like glued into the game. It looks weird. And playing Day of Reckoning, it's almost got like a little bit of a darker feel, and it like almost like just a hint of blur to it, but it works.
A lot more shading to it. Like,
yeah,
you can hide a lot with a lot of shading filters and whatnot as you're moving along here. Like, getting a lot, like even the cutscenes in between look very. I don't want to say real, absolutely real, but there is a sense of realism that comes through it that looks pretty amazing. If you ask me, like,
yeah,
like just this. They could have mailed it in quite easily with still cuts, but the way that everything worked there, it looked beautiful to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really, really fucking sharp. Like they really found their groove after the 2 WrestleMania games, which we're going to review on here eventually. Like I remember because I used to buy every wrestling game. Like I bought Raw for Xbox and was like, that was a holy fuck. And then the SmackDowns were fine. And then WrestleMania 18 and 19, I just remember there not being like, they were okay. But Day of Reckoning was the one that really like, I haven't played Day of Reckoning 2 in forever, assuming it's better, which I'm sure it is. Like these are the wrestling games on GameCube. If we're not talking Def Jam, I'll hear an argument for the Def Jam games, but
absolutely, Def Jam. Let's go right there. But
yeah,
Day of Reckoning 2, I swear, there's going to be one part of that game. I don't know if you remember playing it at all. There is one part of that game that I swear to God, when I get into that part, it's going to make your interpretation of Echo the Dolphin make it feel like you feel about Super Mario World.
Yeah.
So that might be the best way to put that.
Fucking old. And that's where I just, and this is just me being an old man, but like, I much prefer my career modes where I can win or lose. I hate, like, dude, the number of times that I would like have to win the Royal Rumble in like WWF No Mercy, and I grind it out, and then get hit with like a punch that would knock me backwards, and I'd fly over the top rope and get eliminated, and I would lose my fucking mind. And I know I had the option to win, lose, or draw, but I'd already done the 2 other. I had to win this time. I much prefer it when it's just win or lose, move on to the next thing, and see what happens. You know, that's how I like my. That's me.
You don't want your wrestling games to turn into a Dark Souls game, basically.
No, fuck me. Anyways,
oh man,
I think I'm good. Is there anything else we haven't touched about that you missed that you want to talk about? It's good, really good game, really fun.
The audio's great. The graphics are fun. The gameplay's fun for what it is. The story could could be better. It's still not horrible, but
No, it's fine.
and
Very competent. It's just a very competent wrestling game.
yeah, like I'm quick. Like I know we don't go over facts and figures, but I do because I'm a stats man and I'm a ref. Like the scores that are typically coming out here are usually the 80% range, whatever scale they use, which seems rather appropriate to me.
Yeah,
I know we're about to score it ourselves, but at the same time, it's like you want something that was steady at this point. You just didn't want anything that's going to wreck the momentum that they had with the WrestleMania and whatnot. So
yeah,
and this to me held it in spades.
And at the end of the day, it is. I know they're coming from the same basic company, but keep in mind that they're competing with themselves on PlayStation with SmackDown. And as everybody out there is probably aware, SmackDown is the bigger, like, these are almost hidden gems now. Everyone knows SmackDown. The GameCube ones kind of got lost in the shuffle. I think very, very competent, fun to play alternative or response to SmackDown on PlayStation. Frankly, yeah.
Two different scenarios on what you want to play, but definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just noticed too, is it not funny that like Trish is half the cover and then she's one of 4 women in here and they're basically just here to be stripped down to their underwear. Like it's just, and then Triple H and Randy Orton are there to the side. But I guess Day of Reckoning 2, Stacy's right in the front and center.
To be fair, that pretty much was the way they treated women during that era at this point.
It was. Yeah, it was. You're right. So
not our choice, their choice. Not our choice, their choice.
It's how it's
don't sue us.
I did play one today, a bra and panties match, just to be like, for the sake of the review. I was like, let me see. And I played it once and I was like, well, I'll never play that again. Like that was yeah, it's like, and it's like, I don't know. I was like, I know it's a stupid match, but I was like, you could have done a little more with it than this. Like you could have at least, this feels like you made this in about 8 seconds.
It definitely did feel like it's almost like they felt they had to put this in here.
Yeah.
Like they didn't think the game would sell just on its own merits, which I think is ridiculous, but
that said though, I guarantee you there's some fucking horny 12-year-olds out there that played the bra and panty matches.
Oh, I guaranteed. So, like there's people probably played them on loops.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those, well, I mean, yeah. It's been around ever since the fucking Tomb Raider code, you fucking weirdos. All right, let's score this thing. Fuck. I don't know what to score it out of. I guess
we got you know what? We got 40 playable wrestlers. Let's go with that.
All right, yeah. I was like, I guess WrestleMania 41 just ended, but 40, yeah, I like that better. All right, go nuts. Out of 40. The floor is yours.
Personally, I think I'm gonna go with just doing some quick math in my head. I'm probably gonna go with like a 34 out of 40. I think it's a really solid game, really fun to play. The story mode, just some of it just bit me a little bit here. I did find what you were talking about in terms of the reversal timing. I had a little bit more trouble with it than I think you did, but I think that's more of a skill issue than an actual game issue. But everything else, I think, is pretty much solid to my point.
Yeah,
so.
it is. I'll go 32. It's good. I'm definitely taking. Raw and SmackDown should have had at least some separation of their stories, in my opinion. But it is what it is. I thought the women's roster was a little bit shortchanged. My biggest beef was I thought the unlockables are crap. I'm sorry. Like Bret Hart is a great unlockable. I know I don't love the guy, but great unlockable. Andre the Giant, sure. But like, I don't need Brutus the Barber Beefcake. No offense, Brutus.
With all due respect, why didn't you want the Dream Team from? Literally, they were called the Dream Team at WrestleMania 2.
Oh God! Like, come on. So I'm a little disappointed in that stuff. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, very good, competent. Like, is it going to make my top 5 wrestling games of all time? Probably not. But I've been playing quite a bit of it the last couple of weeks, and I was like, I've had it's been really fun. It's a really good. It feels like a literal, because it is a successor to the Nintendo 64 Mount Rushmore. It does feel like that. For some reason, it doesn't hit as hard for me as the Mount Rushmore of Nintendo 64. I don't know if that's nostalgia or what, but it's good. It's very good.
It's a very good party game, which that's what the Nintendo 64 was. It was a party game machine.
Yeah, agreed. Good shit, buddy. Listen, if people, assuming that you don't, this fucking cold that we're both dealing with doesn't kill you, if people want to check out your wheelings and dealings, where can they do it and what can they check out?
Well, most of the time I'm on twitch.tv/Mike the Ref. Every Wednesday and Saturday, we have our AEW Dynamite and Collision sidecast where we hang out and watch wrestling together. And then immediately following, we are doing a run through of WWE 2K25 My GM mode. So you get to see the game on its AI thinking. And my God, if you come see the most recent episode that we have, you can see how dumb AI still is in 2025. We do play a whole bunch of other games as well, too. We got MLB The Show. We're doing a Legend of Zelda run through right now with Link's Awakening as a farewell to the Switch. I have a ton of videos available up on Backbreaker_gaming on YouTube. I just sent Adam the link in for show notes. There is a link to my playthrough of Day of Reckoning, so if you guys want to see my experience as I was going through it, it will be available there for you guys to check out. It's already released now. Other than that, just try to get out there, try to stay busy, try to be, as active as you. And I know a lot of people don't say this enough these days, but I know things have been a little crazy for both of us in many ways due to illness and such, but just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you do, Adam. And this has been a crazy year, and it just seems like it's starting to get a whole lot better. And just want to thank you for generating such a great community. Like, there are so many great people in the community that have assisted me, and I know they're great for you. And you're just the linchpin of just such a great model of success here that it's just simply amazing.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. That's very humbling. I appreciate that. I always say, like, I'm only as good as the people that hang around this fucking pool with me, and you're among them, and you guys are good fucking people. I don't bring people I hate on the show other than Mark McHugh. So thank you. Appreciate that, man. Guys, check out Mike. He works his ass off. He's good at what he does. Just quickly before we end this, because it is a wrestling podcast, I have yet to dive into my GM this year. How do you like the two? If you're not interested, everybody, thank you for listening. But I'm just curious, how are you liking my GM this year on 2K?
Oh, I absolutely love it. There are some things they're going to have to improve for the online. There is online available, but it is limited in terms of what you can do. What we've done with our GM mode, we've actually incorporated a bunch of the wrestlers from the other company as well, AEW. We downloaded some creative wrestlers as part of our roster. There are a couple changes this year to the game that actually make it a lot more interesting for me. We, for example, for the PLEs, rather than having the book show gets to book their own show, we're all on the same show. We get 2 matches where we get to pick one wrestler to join the match, like a feature match, like a fatal 4-way at King of the Ring was our first one. And then everybody gets one match on the card. And your job is to have the best match of the 5 of them between all your That's competitors. Awesome. So I
like it.
They've altered things around. They've had some new power cards. They have some new general managers. I hate the fact that CM Punk is the winning GM right now that I got, but that's a whole different story for another day. But honestly, GM mode, universe mode, I've seen a bunch of people setting up universe mode. I'm working on one myself right now. And the game has had a lot of improvements this year, and I think it's a very good transition year. I think 20 is probably going to be the penultimate version that we're going to be able to deal with. And it's definitely got, for the most part, it has better AI than this game here today.
Sure, as it fucking should. But no, yeah, it's I'll have to get into it at some point. I'm still finished my Rise. I'm almost done, or I'm done my showcase. I'm almost done my Rise, and then it's universe and my GM. I just, you know what it is. Too many games, not enough time. First world problems. So.
Oh God, my backlog's about, 30, 40 times the size of the actual games that I bought right now. Like, Jesus, so much going on.
Yeah, I was joking. If mine ever falls on me, I'm done. Like, it'll kill me.
Well, hell, personally being a fighting game fan, I got 2 major games. One's coming out this week. One's coming out in 3 weeks. What was advertised on WrestleMania, and I just didn't even know time I'm going to get to play it. So,
yeah, man, I feel you. Well, on that note, I'm not even going to go play video games. I'm going to go watch some playoff hockey because it's Canadian. So, Mike, Great job as always, buddy. Thank you for your patience. I know this took forever, and we'll do it again soon.
Pleasure's all mine, sir. Thank you very much.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode. Mike, thanks so much for giving me a call and talking Day of Reckoning. And every single one of you nerds listening to this, well, this was your first Remember the Game, maybe your 330th. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Check out Mike's Wheelings and Dealings. There'll be links in the description of this episode, assuming he remembers to send them to me. Maybe he has, but I haven't seen them as of when I'm recording this. But he's sharp. He'll get them here. Leave us a good review. If you didn't hate the show, those always make me feel good when I'm crying in the shower. And again, if you've been thinking about signing up for Patreon, Remember the Game ad-free with timestamps sitting right there, ready to go. The entire back catalog, including the mysterious missing episode number 2. So a little bit of extra bonus content. By a little bit, I mean fucking 500 hours of podcasts without ads for your $3 a month. Patreon.com/Remember the Game. Leave us a good review. Patreon.com/Remember the Game. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Remember the Game. Throw me a follow. I haven't gained a lot of followers on Twitter for like 6 months. I don't really care. Follow me if you want to. I fucking hate social media. I don't really give a shit. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think we're good. We'll be back tomorrow for all of our Patrons with Expansion Pass, where we'll be talking about we haven't looked at most anticipated games coming up in like 3 years. So it's time to take a look at all the games that are coming up and count down our most anticipated. My WrestleMania review will be going live on Friday on The Rambling Idiot over on Patreon. And we'll be back next week with a whole other slab of podcasts, including Remember the Game 331, which if nothing goes catastrophically wrong, will be Mark McHugh and I taking a look at Kirby 64. You should enjoy that. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy these shout-outs. Enjoy your life. Be happy. Be well. Wash your hands. Talk to you later. Cheers so long. Goodbye. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all the content I churn out every week without all of your support. The following people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher on ye old Patreon box, and as such, I am contractually obligated to thank them. So I should just go oldest to newest and take it easy, but let's fucking go crazy. Let's go newest to oldest. This always fucks me up the most. Let's try this. A huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer Slick motherfucking Rick. Profound, Spooky Dookie, Just James, Exotic Chaotic, Trooper Galactus, Devin Collins, Shane's World, Mike Hag, Botfucker, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt, Game Boy Ganon, Horrorstalgia, a podcast, Icarus Network, Jinxie425, Legendberry, Thunderleaps, Doogie Bowser MD, Captain Assberry Juice, Zen Paladin, Flater Flav, Lord Salazar, Travis Sanders, MacGyver88, The Grim Patron, Savage Boosh, Super Saiyan Safarioth, Dazerath, Wreck-It Ralpy, Conebread, Shank the Rat-Faced Bastard, Ryan Stemmerding, Captain Steve N, Super Jess, VOS Rager, Wilco, McCracken, Justin Blair, Diablo Spartan, Monkal, David Schroeder, Girthworm Jim, Generic Name 238, Darbles, Eric Hopewell, S, Spider-Cat, Alex McIntyre, Scotty McGee, Toby OP, Nothing Could Possibly Go Wrong, Daddy Secret Little Chubby, Justin Tate, Ryan Whitcomb, Ida Yellow, Big Daddy Randall, Mr. Jabroni, Chaz Hammond, Put It in Age, Kevin Kellums, Cody Thompson, Liquor Like Luigi, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Cesar, Plow King, Too Much Karma, Matt Zeus, Bula, Blobby Rogers, not Bobby, Blobby Rogers, Brian Richmond, Sabin, Robbie Air, Jay Callahan, Adam Blank still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Shoeboxers, Mark Sneedy, Man Trucker, you son of a bitch, why? Tell me why. The Supreme Chozo Rizzo, Fallis No Kiku, Penguin Milk, B Money, Chris Hill is scared, that could be anyone's ass. Carbon Fiber Zombie, Benjamin Atkins, Faded Sufferance, Alex Ramos, Sour Goatface, Max Sandin, Frosty Bear, Lucas Shaman, Roger Starbucks Pool Cleaner, Lord Long Rob on Huge and Dom II, Marcus Mendoza, Infinity Rage, Because 19, Beers of War, Lord Palmerston, Leroy Jenkins, Nordak, Pee Wee Squitters, Can't Destroy Her, Kevin Monroe, Ryan Donahue. I can't take a deep breath, so I'm stopping more. The Big Deal, Adam Martinet, Nick Creature, Postman, Dar Skywalter, rated excellent. Just Car Prank, Scotty J. Please refrain from tasting the knob. Itchy Nutsuru, Alex R, Ryan Perry, Ted Explosion, Works for Me, AB Killin, Monstrous D Boner. Kia Pup, Brendan DeZeba, Adam Needs to Play Bowser's Fury, T-Bear 87, Tadpole, Big the Cat, Zamatos, Christopher Britt, Quiet Place Queen, Beef Dingleberry, My Left Nut, Timothy Sabrinsky, Graham Kennedy, Musty Beetle, Maverick Marty, Christian Gabriel, Wimp of Stupid Stooges, TTRPG, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Hits Meals, Isaiah, Squeak Nut, Sleeper Hit, Nerdy Hybrid, Donnie the Dude Walter, Sam Carpenter, Drugs Are Bad, MK, Mr. Arkansas, John of the Adult Children Podcast, James Juan Francesco, Max Legroom. I use small words to help Adam say it more good. Thank you. General Fury, Cody Richardson, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Jimothy, High Plains Drifter, Hegel Waffle, Earl, Archangel Otaku, Storm Beagle, Scary Terry, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Wyatt the Surgeon, who's not a surgeon row, a dude named Adam, Decoy Man, Fuzzy99, Gabe, Matt Babineau, Stud Still Smash, Rush's Dog Walker, Leroy Westrich, Thomas Smith, Beaver Boy, Growly Wog, Laces Out Dan, Jake Carter, Joe the Sandman, Phil Lencher, Tyler, Juris Dr. Mario, Miziru, Dude Where's My Game, Standard Ass Brian, Steve Dalk, Jameer Williams, DBXJ, Madam Nutsitch, It's That Nerd James, Elijah Burns, Chugger22, Triple Three, Captain Black Silver, Zach Shepard, Holmes, Adam Blank still hasn't reviewed Switch 2 Tour. It's true, and I'm not going to. Fuck that game. Just a Fish, Randy Barrage, John Woodruff, Daniel, Jeff Bergeron, Zonko 504, Dean Donian, Squints, Johnny from Virginia, Wolf Magic 21, Doogie, Andy Hudson, Wolfgang Darren, Mercury 869, G9PSX, Mike Maloney, Ryan Kinchin, Zane Donovan, Morgan, A-Town, JSK Fusick, Aaron Lawson, Scott Brooks, No One Cares, Dave Thompson, Angry Tex, Lil by Fufu 89, GoBots are sexier than Transformers, Jordan, Andrew Wright, Chris Fleury, Doug Dorn, Dan of Dissect That Film, Jort King Keegs, J Nasty 15, Sharonic, Joe Buck, and Makeshift Mallow Magic Money. Good shout outs. Not great, but good. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.